Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at a very interesting vehicle, which is this small thing sitting right behind me called the Omni Skimmer, which is a prototype vehicle where you can see that it's using two wheels spinning around at the bottom of the vehicle with a vector thrust setup at the very back. We also have all detectors on here so we can use this as a small scouting vehicle to find precious resources, and it's moved by itself. I'm not sure what's going on there, but goodbye vehicle, we hardly knew ye. Anyway, ignoring that as it goes on its merry voyage, pressing F10 and finding the Omni Skimmer in the spawn menu, there it is. This thing is 102 small blocks using the Warfare 2 Wasteland and Sparks of the Future DLC packs. We've got no other information whatsoever on the Steam Workshop page, so simply give this a thumbs up. We'll spawn in a brand new one, have a quick look around the outside, and then we'll test drive it to see what it can do. So I'll just move my character out the way for the moment, there we go. Coming all the way around towards the very front, this is what we get. So front and centre, what we can see is a spotlight to light up the darkness with a wheel that's sitting on its side. We also got a bunch of lovely red and white blocks which make up the main body of this ship, and a fighter cockpit to drive this thing around. Moving around onto the side, this is what we get. We got some red interior lights, there's one on both sides, and we can come all the way down to here where we can see an access for our fighter cockpit to load this up with anything we need on our journey. Over to here, now this is what made me click on it on the Steam Workshop. These are wheel suspensions where the wheels have been angled quite oddly. It's like it's permanently stuck turning around, but all the wheels have been set up like this, and this is how it's going to skim itself along and try to keep itself nice and stable. If we look directly down like so, that's how that's been done, and we can't control these from the cockpit. Moving around onto the side, we've got some armoured panels with our hazard skin on it. There's the side of our fighter cockpit. There's the rear suspension with another angled wheel. Here is another spinning wheel, which I'm not too sure what is going on. There's the suspension that's been clipped all the way into it. And we can see the rear of our cockpit in case we want to load stuff up through that. At the rear of the vehicle, we've got a programmable block on both sides. One of them is turned off. On the opposite side is our vector thrust script, which allows this thruster at the back here to spin around and help move the vehicle. There's the oil detector we talked about earlier, there's some more interior lights, there's a gyroscope which is very useful on this, and at the very back we've got another light, some more armoured panels, and just moving all the way up and looking down, this is what we get. So at the back there we can see our thruster has got a bit of decoration to it with our armoured panels, then moving towards the front we've got some more panels, there's the fighter cockpit, and there's the very front. If you were to drop down and come underneath it, that wheel has stopped spinning for the moment, but this is all we can see, so we are very flush on the ground, to the point any kind of lumps and bumps will tear this thing apart. And there we go. That's a very brief look around the outside of the Omni Skimmer Prototype, and it's great with how it's been set up. Now what I can do is just grab hold of my character, we can come into the cockpit, and I am curious where the other vehicle went. I believe it went in sort of this direction, so let's go and put the signals on for the moment, and we'll see where it's gone. And there it is, it's just sitting there, and it's starting to come all the way back. Back into my character, all the way over here, I'll hide all the signals, there we go. These are the only controls we get for this vehicle. So number one is going to be to turn on and off our vector thrust script, where we can clearly see that by just sitting around on the side. Pressing number one, that's going to activate that, and then our thruster is going to kick into gear, and if we were to move it left and right, it's now going to turn the vehicle all the way around. Number two is going to be for our cruise control, where we'll just glide along without needing to press anything on our keyboard. And at 3 and 4, it's going to be for our friction for our wheels, to try and alter our speed, and of course to limit our speed, because we start to slide around. Well, that all done out of the way, now it is time to drive this thing around. So undoing the parking brake and moving forwards, in fact we'll leave the parking brake on for the moment, this is what we get. So we are very smooth across the ice, we will bump a little bit because the game doesn't quite know what to do with that wheel at the back, and we can increase our friction if we want to slow this down and make it a bit more stable. But for the moment we'll just remove all the friction, we'll just glide around here. So we can go around in all directions, as you can see there the vector thrust script will just turn us all the way around to where we want to go. And this is all we get, we just kick up a lot of smoke while on the ice, and we can get up to some high speeds. But it's when we get about 60 meters per second does it become very unstable and start to bump around, and this is what I'm talking about where if we go on uneven surfaces it's going to get very bumpy. But luckily we do have a gyroscope on here, and we do sort of just glide along in the air as if we're a ship. And there goes part of the front, there goes part of the ship, and I really pushed my luck with that. Yes, the blueprint itself I think is a very interesting concept. It could benefit greatly by being a lot larger and a lot heavier, because I think the problem it's got at the moment is that it's so light that any kind of bump in the terrain is going to cause it to flip up. But if it were much heavier, it should be able to take that and just correct itself without risking it flipping over and damaging itself. So here we go, driving around on the grass. It's doing a lot better than I expected. I only tested this on the ice because I was thinking that was going to be the best showcase for this, but it seems to be doing relatively great. I was expecting any kind of little lumps and bumps to send this thing flying or flip this thing over, but it looks like that issue was purely when I was on the ice. On the ground here it's doing fantastic, and we're getting up to some high speeds, but we do seem to get a lot of airtime, which might be just because of how the wheels are spinning. But yes, that's pretty much it for what the Omni Skimmer has to offer. So if you wish to check it out for yourself, there'll be a link to it in the description below. I highly recommend you do, because it is an interesting concept and could be used very well on heavier, larger vehicles. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.